This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. Breaking news for NXL Mid-Atlantic Major. This episode is brought to you by HK Army, and they are showing major love to the NXL participants by offering $20 cases of paint to anyone attending the Atlantic City event from June 20th to the 23rd. And that means any teams, regardless of sponsorship, can get Level 5 exclusive tournament paint for only $20 a case, and the new pink shell yellow fill formula is on point. Houston Heat shot at all event in Texas and was one of 3 teams to go into Sunday 4-0, and HK Army is doing everything that they can to make paint more cost-effective for you in Atlantic City. All you got to do to reserve your paint is email my dog, Leopard King, Chad Yaya Boucher, at chad@hkarmy.com to let him know you want $20 cases of paint in AC. Once again, CHAD@hkarmy.com. Email him right now. Do not wait. Reserve your paint before it's gone.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode is very special. It's one of its kind. It is the first of these types of episodes where we go live for the GOATs. So the GOATs were actually live with us, and they were able to interact with our guest. Our guest is Tom Cole, and you're not going to want to miss what he has to say. A lot of exciting stuff. Paintball is in an amazing direction right now, and the GOATs got to, again, see it firsthand, ask questions, and be part of the show. Pretty epic. We're going to be doing this probably once a month, so it definitely pays to be a GOAT and be part of the Discord. And without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
PTG Familia. We're back at it again. Episode number 258. And we're doing something pretty fun. March, how you doing, first of all?
I'm excellent, brother. Really excited to be here, be back in the studio. I feel like it's been forever. This was the longest trip I have ever been on, ever, by far.
In your career?
In my life. In my life. It was my longest time away from home. You know, usually I'd be gone for like months at a time, but I'd come home for at least a night, you know, do laundry, repack, and then off again. But this was just about 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Which is a long time. It's a long time. Yeah, it was really like fun. Oh, it was incredible. Honestly, it was an incredible trip from start to finish. We came up a little short in the semifinals, which was, well, it was heartbreaking because we lost to the team that won again on Sunday. And in overtime, we had a 4-on-3 situation. We had every opportunity to win the point. We were in all the good spots. We shot Arturo off the break. Like, you got to win it. And we ended up losing it in the last like 15 seconds. Essentially, our guys just kind of didn't close together and missed the opportunity on the move. But you know, we win that game, and I feel really good about going on to play, Kevin's team, Breakout. Our team was just playing so good. We understood the field really well. It's a bummer, but at the same time, I'm like really proud of that organization because I think they took a huge step forward this weekend or that weekend, I should say. A lot of the mistakes that were made in the first event and a lot of the situations that kind of made us crumble, we were able to overcome. And that's been a big, kind of talking point for myself is, within the culture, building this strength to overcome these kind of situations, and every single player has really, owned that. And you could see it. It definitely came through. We had multiple down body situations that we won. We had multiple overtime games that we won. We had multiple like massive moments. We had in overtime in our 4th prelim game against the Ron Holt Dynamite guys. Mm-hmm. We literally lost. So we were already 3-0. We were in. I go to the guys. I'm like, hey, I don't want to do anything too risky. Let's just get 5 alive and see if we could win this way. If we don't, it is what it is. We were guaranteed on a Sunday. Tauntauns had lost the game. So being the number 1 seed was like, who knew if it was going to matter? So we're like, sure. So we go with something kind of conservative and we lose 3 bodies on the break somehow. Anyway, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Well, let's see if we can make some magic here. And, sure enough, Greeny, he's James Green. He was on the episode we did with a couple of Lucky's guys. Amazing. Yeah, he's awesome. And, I've spent a lot of time with him because I stay with him when I go out there, but he's a really bright individual, off the field. And so the questions he asks, and he really understands the game and the concepts that we're discussing. He's like really absorbing them and putting them to action. But we've talked about these concepts and, we talk about it on the show a lot. Whereas if you're trying to win a point and you go down bodies, your best chance is probably to attack. Sure enough, all of a sudden, Greeny like realizes, ball 3. He just gets up and runs down the snake side and shoots like all 5 guys. I think he shot 4.
There we go.
And then hit the buzzer.
Let's go.
But it was, in overtime, we lose 3 on the break. It's like, okay, this one's over. And then all of a sudden he makes this miraculous move.
Well, the squad as a whole has been playing really good together and they played really great out, at the event. It's just, like you said, a little bit short at the end there, but overall, I think the squad's trending in the right direction. And for everybody that doesn't know, he was out there coaching the Lucky 15s and then Scalp went on to win back-to-back. They went on to win that next one.
Yeah, they're playing really good. I mean, they have some great players. Obviously, Malloy helped them tremendously at the first one. They had Arturo the second time around. He played great, but they also have, a good supporting cast with Pizone and Geiger. They were formerly of Carnage. The squad is good. They have a good system. They have a lot of funding. They get to practice together a lot. So they're really sharp. I think the biggest difference for us was I got to go out a week early and have an actual practice with the guys. Whereas at the first event, we had a practice, but our field, we had like 6 teams we were sharing the field with. So it was just points. I didn't get to do any drills or really work on like really difficult situational stuff, which to me as a coach, that's the most important thing. And any coach or any team that I work with on a regular basis, these are the types of drills that I set up. So the tournament is easy. I mean, sounds kind of cliche. You want to train harder than the event's going to be, but I really try to curate these drills so that we see things in practice that are so difficult that come tournament time, if it's a 2-on-4 or a 1-on-2, like you've already done that so many times that you're at least comfortable. It doesn't mean you're going to always win them, but you have a better chance because you're at least comfortable. So this time around, we were able to have our own field for, most of a Saturday. I made the guys all get there early. So when other teams showed up, we had at least 2 hours of like our own drills already, and then we were able to get points in and run kind of timed matches. So we had a great practice going into it and felt really good. It's just, man, it's a bummer because I really wanted that one for them. It was on their home turf. I know how badly they wanted it. Like all the players on that team have the fucking heart of a lion. I mean, it's really insane, the passion that they all have and just the raw talent. So, to see everyone come together and kind of buy into the system because they're all pretty hard-nosed as well. They've got, strong heads and they've had a lot of success doing things their way, but they've been really receptive to everything and vice versa. I've been really open to, their way of playing and thinking as well. But yeah, overall is excellent weekend, and then heading off to Greece shortly after was amazing. Would have been a little better with the win. It always is. But the lady and I had a fantastic time. It was my first time down there. And
oh man, it looked unreal.
Fucking place, dude.
Yeah.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Just the landscapes and everything looked surreal. And then you had like a grotto. You had your own little grotto going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. The place in Santorini was nuts. A lot of people reach out and they're like, actually one of your teammates reached out and was like, yeah, so I'm looking for a place to go and, mind sharing details. I'm like, I got you, bro.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And then being in the UK with the Lucky 15s, that must've been fun. Cause that's their home turf. They probably had a bunch of fans out in the area. And also the big Euro soccer tournament was going on at the same time. And England was in. That was crazy. You were out there for all that.
Yeah. They were obviously all really excited. I think the semifinal game was Saturday night at the event. So I was like, guys, look, if this is going to be a deal breaker, I get it. but we shouldn't watch this game.
Focus.
We're going to be at the, because it started at like 5 or 6 p.m. I'm like, we should be watching that last match. And I thought I was going to get a ton of pushback on it because, you know, the whole 2 weeks leading up, they were watching the quarterfinals, all they talked about.
Yeah.
And they're all like, no, we're here to win. You know, fuck the football game. We'll figure that out. So we got to watch all the games, and then we went to Nando's, had some dinner, and actually the last like 15 minutes of the game was on. So we stayed and watched the ending of it, which was pretty epic. You know, they won with penalty kicks in the end.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Crazy game. Yep. And I watched the Copa America and the European events. Spain walked away with the European big win out there. And then Messi, he got injured in that final game. Yeah. Poor guy, his ankle was all messed up, but they, you know, number 22, I can't remember his last name. He scored a major goal for them. And they were able to bring that one home for the Messi camp. So he got another one.
Yeah, 100%. And hey, I just want to highlight here, because again, this is a show first of its kind. We are actually live for the GOATs only. So if you're a GOAT member, GOATs? You get access to watch this show live and interact with us, have your comments pulled up on the YouTube. We will have Tom Cole on the show here in about 5 minutes, actually. And so the GOATs are going to be able to interact live and ask questions, which is amazing. We're not going to be doing this a lot. This is a new, unique kind of exclusive perk that we're offering to the GOATs. And we'll probably do, I don't know, maybe one show a month like this. We want to stick to the format of, you know, where we have guests on. We want to get really in depth into some, you know, deep conversation. We're obviously gonna, you know, not stray from that format, but we think this is a pretty fun option and variant as well. So,
yes,
we got the GOATs in the house.
What up, Cam? Yeah, I'm gonna just start naming off some of the GOATs that are in here live with us right now as we're recording. We got David in the house, Marcus, B Gravy. We got B Buzzed.
B Buzz, let's go.
Chris Barrios. Thank you all for supporting the show, being a part of the GOAT squad. This is, like Marchie was saying, this is the first time we've ever done this. We're live in here with the chat, and they're all in here with us. And we'll be doing this at least, you know, once a month, something like that. If you want to join the GOAT squad, go check out our website, click the orange Patreon link, get involved. It's a lot of fun in the chat. Obviously, the GOATs have their own tiers and chat rooms, and then we have the players chat. There's a bunch of activity in there. It's the new age PB Nation. It's PTG Nation. If you didn't know, go log in, get in there.
PTG Nation, baby.
Yeah.
Get this invite over to Tommy Cole. But yeah, Ty, you know, to wrap up the Europe trip, I mean, it was truly a trip of a lifetime. Greece is expensive. Make no mistake. I thought,
let's talk about, I want to talk about that adventure. Like after you left the tournament, how that all went.
Yeah. So Sahar met me in London Sunday night. We had early flights to Mykonos Monday morning, so we didn't do anything. We didn't get back until late, so I just met her at the hotel right there at London Heathrow and showered. We went downstairs, had a dinner in the lobby, and then woke up early, took the flight. It's about a 3.5-hour flight to Mykonos, and you know, landed, went through customs. It was kind of a breeze, got picked up, went to the hotel, and we were on just total vacation mode for the next, you know, 6 nights.
Y'all were ripping it.
We were ripping it, dude. The first night we were like, yeah, you know, let's take it easy tonight. Let's just maybe go into Mykonos town and like have dinner, maybe a few drinks, and we'll come back. We go into Mykonos town, and we're at this beautiful little restaurant on the sea. And these 2 guys next to us, they were a couple, incredibly outgoing and friendly, start talking to us. We ended up being like great friends with them. So all 3 nights they were there for a friend's wedding, but they went like 3 days early. So they actually didn't have stuff to do until Thursday, which was the day we left, ironically enough. But like the next 3 nights, we would meet them pretty much every night and just have a blast. They were so cool. 2 guys from Poland. They're from they're from Poland. So you know, they know how to booze.
Oh yeah, got the booze.
Yeah, but it was wild, dude. Like you would be walking around Mykonos town at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and everyone is outside at restaurants eating their dinner. You know, it's such a late town. It's like Vegas. It's different. It's different than Vegas, actually. It's you know, because it's not like everyone's out of control. You know, it's 1 a.m. and people are having their dinner. You know, and then you sleep until like 1 p.m. You know how I am at home. I'm up at like 5:45, 6:30 is like kind of late for me. 7, I feel like I lost half the day, and I mean, I wasn't waking up till like 12:30 or 1. We were out till like 4 or 5 in the morning each night.
It was unreal. The landscape, the scenery was crazy. And the room y'all had with the like the pool outside. You had the pool that wrapped around the whole entire room. It was crazy.
That was in Santorini. Yeah. So Santorini is
right.
like a totally different vibe. Mykonos is kind of known as the party town. We didn't think we were going to like it as much, and it ended up being our favorite spot because it's like, it's a party town, but the vibe is just incredible. You know, it doesn't seem trashy. It's really nice. You know, it's gorgeous everywhere you go. Good food, really fun people. So it was excellent. And then when we got to Santorini, it's just like the most stunning views. I mean, absolutely incredible. The views everywhere you are, you're almost 2,000 feet in the air, you know, so you're just overlooking, like, just stunning. So our room was fortunately really nice there. We would go into town. Town is much smaller than in Mykonos town. You know, they have like a really nice place for dinners and sunsets in. It's called Ia. And we'd go there each night, have a nice little dinner. And then honestly, it was like, let's go back to the room. The room was amazing, but yeah, it was an incredible time.
We got B-Buzzed. He's one of the goats. He said, and Greece isn't nuclear hot, right? It was a little cooler. Or was it hot?
It was scorching hot. It was literally scorched earth. Yeah, it was scorched earth. It was so hot.
What was the temperature?
It was only like 87, but I'm telling you, it was a different 87. Like you just could not escape the heat. Everywhere we went, everyone around you is sweating. You're sweating. It was like,
it's been a hot summer all over the place. It's really hot out there right now. Yeah, be safe.
Yeah, for sure. It was incredible. So anyway, it was nice to check Greece off the bucket list. You know, in the past, there's never any paintball tournaments there, and it's not as easy to get to. When you're in Europe, it's really easy. And we got Tom backstage here, so we'll bring him in just a minute. What up, Tom? It's not that easy to get to. You know, when you're in Europe at any of the Major League Paintball events, it's really easy to go to Italy or France, or, you know, some of the close areas nearby, which are still great vacations. So never made it, and it was just always on the list. So really glad we did it. Checked it off the list for sure.
Yeah, it looked fun. The Instagram, you had the gyros rolling. Mark wants to know how many you took down.
The gyros?
The gyros.
At least 10. They
looked crazy good.
I think I had 4 in one day. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it was like unbelievable.
Well, that's
so
like
good.
That's the way to go. If you're out there, yeah, definitely.
Eurotown. I had tons of like amazing fish, and just man, I didn't have one steak, which is wild. I usually get steak everywhere I go. It was nothing but amazing fish. Incredible. But it is 5 o'clock, so let's be punctual. Let's bring in our man Tom Cole.
Yes, sir. Tommy.
How we doing,
Mr. Cole?
Doing good. El Presidente. Good to see you, brother.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Man.
Just recovering from the European trip. Those things are tiring. We
were talking about the adventure he was on for almost 3 weeks. He just got back recently, and it's a lot.
It's a little more glamorous than mine was, I'm sure.
You do some pretty awesome travels yourself, though, Tom.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I lead a blessed life on that side for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I guess is, you know, what we've been talking about. We need to do a better job of sharing, and we're probably jumping the gun, but I had a conversation with some very exciting people this morning, and I don't know, because we didn't talk before this episode. I don't know if that's what you were referring to in England when you said, hey, I want to talk.
What are we talking about?
The UFC guys.
Oh yeah, they're actually they're working on some stuff. That's for sure. I'm not going to say too much, I guess. Yeah, they're working on some stuff. I'm excited about what they're doing. We're helping them any way we can. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the green light today. I talked to him this morning to talk a little bit about it, but it is very exciting. So I think a lot of people heard the rumors of there being some UFC executives or some UFC affiliated people in Las Vegas. Nobody knew exactly, you know, who they were, but turns out some of them were actually there. They do the Fight Inc., I believe it's called, and the UFC Countdown. The UFC Countdown is huge. It gets like millions of views.
Yep.
You know, and it's part of what has helped the UFC really blow up, because it kind of gets you involved with the story of the fighters, which is incredible. You know, that's what we've been talking about on the show for a long time. This is exactly what paintball needs, is a show that really does a good job of telling the story of the athletes, right? Like, you can go to Go Sports, you can see all the clips of people playing, and that's exciting, but you need to give people a reason to care. And how do you get people to care? You make them relate to the athletes in the game. That's any sport, in my opinion. And it sounds like they want to do a little bit of a lifestyle kind of documentary on paintball, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So
yep,
that's incredibly cool.
Type stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's, I feel like we're on a pretty good trajectory here. Like over the past year, we've really been, hitting some home runs as a sport.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more.
Funny, like I was just talking over the other day, like it's like almost like I forgot that we did the summit and had the award show this year. That was pretty epic, right? The award show was amazing, and now here we are. We got Hertz, we got ESPN, the whole deal. So
yeah, it has been really exciting to watch, and you guys have been working your butts off. So we commend you and thank you and everybody behind the scenes that does so much tireless work that you couldn't even imagine. Really, it's a thankless job too. You don't get a lot of pats on the back, but we definitely want to say thank you for all your hard work. And if you haven't checked out, go look at that Fight Inc. Inside the UFC. It's a really cool documentary, and that's on Roku, I believe. You can find that free. But they do really amazing work, and that's exciting news too. That they are looking at paintball and excited at what this amazing sport can offer the viewers. Sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So where are you at right now? You back at home?
Yeah, I'm home.
There we go. Home. I thought you got the people with you. We see.
Yeah, I got the people with me. I actually tried to change my screensaver, but apparently it's more complicated. Yeah, someone's like, you need a new backdrop. Yeah, I tried to change that today, but it's a little more complicated than my 5 minutes ahead of time had. So I'll change it for next time.
Dude, it's the best.
5 minutes ahead of time. We set this date in England.
No, I'm talking about for me. I decided to change it 5 minutes ahead. I'm not blaming you.
I was gonna say. And then you ghosted me yesterday. I was like, oh no, Tom, don't do it to me. Please don't do it to me. We've been so excited about this episode because you approached me saying that you had something exciting to share.
Yeah, we thought, well, we'll delay it. We thought we were going to have some exciting stuff. They've delayed our news. So, we were hoping to have the dates and times for the ESPN stuff by now. So, so we're still waiting on that. So, so I apologize if I got y'all excited for nothing. But, they were supposed to have the new times and stuff for us. So we're still working on it.
All good things in time, and actually you're a part of the very first PTG episode ever where we've got our GOAT community live in the chat as well. So as you saw, Marcelo was able to pull up a live comment there. They're actually in here with us right now during the show. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And
the correct question is, where would the first event be? Because if you say, where's Vegas going to be, it's actually going to be in Vegas. But we don't know yet where our first event's going to be at yet.
Okay.
This question is, will there be an NXL Vegas event for 2025?
Oh, got it. All right. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was a fun one. Vegas was fun.
Where would you go instead?
We would go to LA, Riverside.
Stop it. We're bringing one back.
We're going to try maybe.
Wow.
We looked at Phoenix. I got so many comments after Dallas about Phoenix that I went and looked at Phoenix. So we're actually looking at Phoenix, Riverside, and Las Vegas.
Okay.
Is the options.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, the Dallas is the one that you guys are trying the most to move, right?
So correct. So we would probably move Dallas. We would probably move Dallas to the fourth event is kind of what we're looking at, or move Philly to the fourth event.
Yeah,
those are our two limelights there.
So an incredibly hot Texas event.
It's going to be hot no matter where we go.
Yeah.
The fourth event wouldn't be bad in Texas. That's September.
That's usually Chicago. Oof, is it not bad? I feel like we've gone.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not going to avoid. You got Texas. Yeah. You got two choices. You can either be hot, or you could be wet. So,
I choose the heat. I choose the heat. So, I choose the heat any day of the week.
I've chosen wet for like 20 years now, so I figure we'll throw a wrinkle in it and try and pick
Tom, it hasn't been you all 20 of those years. There were many years that the PSP did the same thing, okay?
Yeah.
But I think the people believe it's been you for 25 years.
That's why I say that, because it feels like when you read the comments online, they're like, don't blame me for that forever.
So, Tom, let's talk about NXL Europe. You guys were just out there, really successful event, and looked like a lot of fun. How was it?
I mean, I'm really feeling the vibe for Europe, right? I really like the events over there. It's going well. I mean, it's nice to be. Ainsley's a great partner there, so and he runs his event at the same time, which makes the event feel big. And, I'm really happy with the European teams. I mean, I'm impressed by Scalp. Scalp has won twice.
Yeah.
Now coming up from semi-pro last year, but I think the teams are really developing. I know not everybody was a fan of my removal of the American teams and all that, but I think as a project, as an experiment, we'll call it, I think it's a good one. I think all of those markets are kind of growing. Those teams are maturing. I mean, obviously, I think help with some of the American coaches is definitely helping. But it's an exciting time for Europe as it is.
Yeah, it is.
And that's actually what I was doing last week, as I was looking at other venues for the NXL Europe.
Oh, doing some sightseeing. Where were you at?
I was in Germany, shall we say.
It's a nice write-off.
Nice. There we go.
Nice write-off. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, is write-offs. I'm really looking for days back in my life.
You can't buy those. You cannot buy those.
Yeah, no, can't get those back. So, sorry.
Who do we got? Who do we got on the line?
I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
Is that the commissioner? Let's bring him on.
No, he is in Europe as well.
Still,
he actually is on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He told me his family's meeting him. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Again,
if you're gonna do this job, you're really gonna have to try and do some of the travel stuff, right?
Yeah,
I get mad every time I go to Europe and I don't do something cool, right? So
you're already there.
It's a lot of flying, and people give anything to kind of get a trip to Europe, and then here we go over there like 3 times a year and don't do any sightseeing. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, the league as a whole looks very strong. Everyone is super excited and hungry. And Scalp's the big story right now. They're
playing great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the European teams are getting better every event. I definitely still think they need to work on their time management. So you need to start teaching them about that, Marcelo. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed. And
I can only teach one team.
What's
I can only teach one team about that.
Well, it once they learn it, then everybody's going to start copying it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was funny. That was the first thing I noticed when I went back after COVID. It was 2022, that Germany event that we won. I remember playing the Tauntauns in the finals, and we were up 1-0. And the second point, it was like a 5-on-3 or a 4-on-2. We were in total control, and they let the point go for like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we finally won. And I was like, that was just so poorly. I didn't understand how, they didn't understand. They have gotten better. I think the teams as a whole, but when we came back from COVID, it was like across the board, the teams over there did not understand time management.
Well, it's, and the funny thing is when you screw something up, right, where it doesn't matter, we all screw things up when we're playing, right? When you screw something up, we analyze it so much about how we could have done a better job. And when Dynasty makes a mistake, Houston Heat learns from it, because they're like, why'd they do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So then all that dialogue and all that, trying to get better, it just creates an evolution of the game. And the Europeans were out of that evolution for a little while. And when the Americans were over there playing, they were more playing as a for fun type of thing. So it wasn't like life or death if you conceded at the wrong time or you let a point go too long, like it is in the States. So they're learning. Every time they make a mistake, I think they'll get better.
Yeah, and it's great to see so many. There's still a ton of American players going over there, competing, helping teams, coaching, being a part of the culture as well, which is also boosting all that.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So we love to see that.
Yeah, we pitched around an idea of maybe trying to do I'm going to call it a President's Cup, just because I don't have another name for it, but where the top 4 American teams got to come over, maybe to Portugal, right, and then play one event over there, and then their top 4 teams come over at World Cup. So we're actually doing a little cross-pollination twice a year.
Mm-hmm. That sounds awesome for so many reasons. Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's amazing.
But it does mess up the coaching jobs.
A little bit, yeah.
Marcelo can't play and coach.
I'll coach.
You'll
it's
coach?
All good. Yeah. I'll coach at Lucky 15s against Dynasty.
Oh, me.
Where's that?
They already asked. They're like, when we come to World Cup, bro, you're going to be coaching us, right? What's funny is if we were to compete against each other, it's one of those things where if they were to beat us, I'd be really upset as a competitor, but in a way, slightly proud.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I can only imagine the grief that just Ryan alone would give you if you were over there coming up with game plans when you should have been in a Dynasty meeting. I can only.
Oh yeah, no. That never happens. That never happens.
Not even fathom.
Yeah. Ryan has enough distractions at the event. He won't even notice mine. So
That's good.
He's too busy. Too busy. Hey, Tom, Verbin here actually had a good question that I'm curious about as well. And he's wondering if the pro field will continue to be the increased dimensions like it was in Atlantic City.
I think it's partially his request at why we made it larger. So there you go, Verbal. We will try and do that if we can. So we have some space constraints and some of the, especially like World Cup, we have some space restraints.
Yeah.
But we're going to try. And I don't know if you noticed, but like the net's not the right size. So the seams were in the wrong spot. So we're going to work on that and try and fix some of that stuff up.
I mean, for what we needed it to be, for what it needed, for the show, it was perfect. The different angles and depths of the cameras is going to capture a lot. Super excited. I know we don't have any more real info on that, but really excited to see how that all turns out in August or whenever it drops.
I've seen some of the footage. It's pretty good. I'm very happy, very impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke about this on one of the previous. Oh, maybe I didn't. Or maybe I did when I was in. Who cares? I saw the GoPro footage from it looks incredible. I think I said this to you, Tom, as soon as I saw you. It looks so good in my opinion. If you could, even if you have like throughout a whole match, if you only have one or two shots that are like that, to where it's like, all right, this was a big move. We're going to go back to the instant replay and it's, Malloy running through and shooting three people. That view, that perspective, it has like a little bit of the fisheye on it. Something about it. I mean, it just captured me. It absolutely captured me. And I think if we can really find a way to integrate that, holy smokes. I mean, it's the perfect thing for a viewer that has never seen paintball.
On board.
It was one of the more stressful decisions whether to use the GoPros or not. And we actually polled the coaches, captains, whatever, and everybody agreed to do it, which was really nice of them.
You all had a meeting of the minds there. Everyone was like, all right.
Yeah. So it was unanimous. So it worked out pretty well. And I don't think it was a big hindrance. I don't know how cool they looked, but it was definitely gave us some good stuff. And it also captures the voice, which is something we didn't really think about, or I didn't think about it. They did know that because when I said get rid of it, they were like, we'd have no other way to have people mic'd up. So basically it's like being mic'd up and visual.
Yeah, that's right. And those components, those two components right there are the next chapter for our sport. Getting on board with the player and then having that audio that you can pull, because it really accentuates what's actually happening on the field in real time, and you can really see the story build up.
Yep, no, for sure. And I'd like to hear everybody say like where they think the best mount is. So
I think
we went with the goggle mount.
I think that's perfect. Yeah, because you want to see what they're looking at and what what they got going on.
The gun goes up and down too much. It moves too much. And for me, that perspective, when I was, watching the footage, all that I was processing was, this feels like it's me.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm making this move. It feels like it's from my perspective as if I was holding the paintball marker. So I mean, yeah.
So have you seen Yaya's footage of the 360 or whatever? I think that's pretty neat too.
Yep. Yeah, those look great too. And that's Chad Yaya Boucher.
I don't love it. I think it's gimmicky. I think it's super cool for like his Instagram channel and YouTube and all that. I love it in that way. But for like professionalism, I think it's a little, especially like when it turns, sometimes it kind of disorientates you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would love that for a streaming aspect. It's kind of more of like a cool like social media thing.
Yeah. I agree.
Baffling how much they would have to edit that, right? Because it's 360 degrees in editing, But it would be neat, when someone gets behind you and bunkers you, right? You can see both sides of it.
Well, if they have one, you could see it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, I mean,
both. So you would like see him like, I see what you mean. So you would see him like coming around the corner. Oh yeah, that's actually a good point.
The only thing is those do stick up like a little bit further. The 360 ones are a little bit taller.
Yeah, the GoPros didn't stick out as bad as I thought they would. They actually didn't seem so bad. So,
yep. And then the more that players get accustomed to it, it'll just become a part of our gear and our equipment, and it'll just be the norm. Maybe at first it feels a little bit weird, but it's at some point, and the cameras will get smaller. Everything will get more streamlined as time goes on as well. So it's going to be the new norm, so we can get that onboard footage of the game.
Well, hopefully being on TV becomes the new norm, regardless of what
Sheesh.
they're using.
Let's go, Tommy.
Let's go. Well, you say TV, but it doesn't have to be TV. I think I know what you mean, though.
I just mean,
yeah.
Well, so it does help that it's on something that people are just accidentally going to be on, right? So the difference between an OTT platform and something that has a time delivery, shall we say, it means that it's going to be on at that time, and people are just accidentally going to watch it. You know what I mean? Whereas, there's stuff on Netflix that you would never find, right? You'd have to know to be looking for it.
Yes, but it has the opportunity for the algorithm to just put it on your, up and coming shows or something you might like. And that is a great way to get attention as well, at least on, platforms like YouTube and stuff like that.
We'll take it any way we can get it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Right. We're going for all the platforms, as many platforms as we can get on. That's what we're going for.
Yeah. Tom, we have this question too from Marcus. Have we asked Tom about the shooting range question yet? A warm-up skill. I don't know if you listened to, I'll just compile his question because it's a great one, but is there any chance that we can get some sort of netted area by the pro field, maybe 2 bunkers and some targets, so that you can go in before a match and you could have like a 5-minute slot to go in and do some very simple warm-ups? I feel like we're like one of the only sports where you can't really warm up anything as far as shooting, in pretty much every other sport. You can get shots in, you can kind of go through some of the progressions. We go in cold.
It is funny that like for like the first half of my career when I was with the NBPL and all that, we always had a shooting range, right? There was always a shooting range. And then when I went to work for the PSP, I was like, someone had asked me one time and they were like, you guys don't have shooting ranges. And I'm like, of course we have a shooting range. What do you mean? And they're like, no. And I'm like, come to find out, we just don't do that anymore. And so I've always thought that was a little weird. We could try and do something. Once again, space is a challenge, and then safety is a challenge at that point, right? That we have to kind of manage that a little bit. But we might be able to do something small in the pro area. You're not talking about like running and shooting, are you? You're talking about
snap shooting,
a stationary thing where you could have 2 bunkers. I mean, ideally, if you could do, 5 side by side with targets that are like, 15 feet away, pretty close, just so you could warm up and like get into a little gunfight rhythm, and then you're out. Like maybe each player can have, 3 minutes in there before a match or something. And if your team's not on deck, you obviously can't go in there. But something like that would be really, really cool. I've always wanted something like that. I thought it'd be, amazing. Usually when we walk on the field, I like pull up and I try to shoot a few poles. I know it's not allowed. It's not great, but it's like, shoot a few poles. You need to see the ball connect on something so that you can kind of come in warm.
It's not a bad idea, and we could try and look at it, but it's funny. It reminded me of an issue that we had at this last event with the filming that, we don't really think about it. And that's all the ambient noise that's at an event. Like, so we had to do the interviews, like, I don't know, a half a mile away in a custom built thing that we built so that they wouldn't hear all the sounds of the paintballs going off all the time for the interviews. Yeah. And even when you're playing and we're trying to get some of the footage of the game, right, there's all these other sounds. There's like people shooting in the chronos and all that kind of loud stuff. So we had basically a silent system for the finals. We didn't let anybody in the pit area, and we didn't allow anybody to shoot except during the breaks when they had a chance. So what did you guys, I guess you guys weren't there, but it definitely felt like, sorry, that wasn't a dig.
No, it was a little bit, man. That hurt
a little bit, but not intentional.
Yeah.
It felt more professional not having everybody milling around in the pits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So look for that.
Yeah, and there is something to that because there's so much eavesdropping going on that is maybe not even, at the forefront of your mind, but it's the Wild West in the pit area.
It can be the Wild West, and everybody. And the problem with the pro pits is everybody in there is somebody, right? So every time you say something to somebody, they're like, "I work with HK," or "I'm this person for Dynasty,or
no, that makes sense. That makes sense to somebody, definitely,
you know what I mean. So it's but it felt much more professional in there, and some of the media guys can chime in too. Let me know if they agreed with that, but it definitely felt more premier, and also more professional.
Yeah. So maybe in the future it would be like before you can even go back in there, you have to check your time slot, and then it's like ready to go.
Well, especially on Sunday, right? That's really when the riffraff is in there, right? Everybody's trying to watch the games and they don't want to go up and wherever. So, like we used to put that fence up to kind of block it so you couldn't see it on the film, but you know, all the things have problems, challenges, shall I say?
Yeah. So I don't know if you can even speak on it, but were the crew, the ESPN heads, were they excited when they watched it and had everything?
Well, so yes. So everyone that saw the footage so far has been really impressed. I had a long meeting with one of the guys for the business development side of it. And he was basically like, you guys are so much further along than most other emerging sports. And I use Dynasty as an example, but like you guys already have fans. Dynasty already has fans, right? So there's legacy fans that have been in there for 20 some years. And then there's like Afshock fans that have been there forever, or Red Legion fans. And there's already personalities, like, you know what I mean? Like everybody on this call, right? There's already people that know these people. We're not trying to create that. We're cornhole, you know, they don't have a legacy. You don't know who the guy is that won, you know, the 2002 championships. You know what I mean? So we're ahead. He felt we were ahead in those categories. We already have a built-in audience. We're already ahead in a lot of ways over these other emerging sports. So we'll just see how the viewership goes.
Yeah. And how can we all support you and support this journey and what's going to be coming up?
So once this time comes, once they release the time slots that we're scheduled to be in, they do say we will probably be in other time slots as well. But we're going to have a homepage, a landing page on our site that's going to tell you how to watch and when to watch. And we will get graphics out to everybody. So hopefully we just share that and get that out there. I mean, I think the community's pretty excited about it. And we just need to kind of make it happen.
Yeah, we got to hit this out of the park. So everybody that's tuned in, let's go.
If there's field store owners watching this, if they could go to the Major League Paintball site, and there's going to be a link on there to enter their store and field for a store and field finder, because we plan on having one of the commercials be a Go Play Paintball commercial.
Amazing.
And then we'll send them to Major League Paintball so they can go ahead and get the field information for something near them. Field finder.
There we go. Okay, so if you're a store or a field out there, go to majorleaguepaintball.com. And there's going to be an area that they can find where they can put all that info in?
Yep. I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be there today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and this will be going live. The goats are in here live with us right now.
Yep. We lost Tyler.
Uh-oh.
As soon as he said goat, Ollie's over there deleting him. It's like, I'm going to be on the goat.
He'll be back.
There you go.
Oh,
there
sorry.
We go. Last thing you said, Tyler, was goat.
Oh, yeah, we had the goats in here. I was just saying, if you're a store or a field, make sure you go over there, get your information in. If you know somebody that has one, get their information in there so that they can get some more notoriety, you know, once this thing drops on television through ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, because really, I mean, obviously we want the people to see the sport and all that, but the real end goal is to get more people playing, right? So we need to make it as easy as possible for them to find their local park. And when we did the Boy Scout thing last year, the biggest reason people said that they didn't play is they didn't know there was a park near them. And some of them were actually near parks. So we're just going to try and do a better job of making sure where people know where the parks are. Absolutely. Love that.
Yeah, we got to you know, hit all angles, which it sounds like we're doing. Real quick, I want to kind of go back. So this is a great suggestion here from young Stevie about the on-field mics. We do have them, and I've seen Darren, you know, I've been mic'd up quite a bit, but I feel like it doesn't happen every match, and I feel like it doesn't get integrated as much as it could. How do you feel about the on-field mics?
I think it's one of the coolest things hearing everybody talk, right? That's I mean, paintball's kind of sterile when you're just watching everybody shoot at each other, right? It's really the drama of the communication and all that stuff that I think is cool, right? So I love the on-field mic stuff. There's some challenges, right? We can't have you guys saying certain stuff. So that means there has to be a delay. So we couldn't ever really use it in the live broadcast, but it could be used in the post-produced thing.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And you know, when you have the mic on, making sure that you do a good job with the mic on, being mindful of that, so that someday, it's
crazy. Even our codes, right? When you don't think of them as being bad, we'll just use God, right?
Okay,
here
Tom,
we go.
Here you go. Coming on after I told you this. I didn't think about that. You're gonna present this as an original idea.
I'm just saying it's stuff you don't think about, right? You can't say kill God.
We thought about it, Tyler and I.
All right, there you go. Well, that's why y'all are ahead of me. You guys are
we've gotten a lot of pushback on that, and so it's all about a professional product, right? We want to make it the most professional product possible. And when
it's crazy though, because when you put two words together, they can always, you know what I mean? Like it can get bad quick, without intentionally doing something, right?
That's right. So being mindful of it.
You got to be mindful of it. So.
Tom, I want to continue down the road of pretending this was a original Tom Cole idea, because I want to hear the rest of what you were going to say. I'm intrigued.
I'm always stealing everyone's ideas.
No, it just means that you do an excellent job of gathering information from people you trust.
Yeah, I spend all day talking to people.
What a good president does.
Yes, invariably some ideas get.
Tom Cole is not a dictator.
Huh?
Nope.
Tom Cole is not a dictator. He's a man of the people.
Definitely not a dictator. I did watch How to Be a Dictator in case I decided to go that way.
You might need to at some
be
point.
Sensitive to what we're naming the bunkers. We need to kind of do a better job of that, and kind of. I think in the long run we need to kind of like stabilize what we call the bunkers, right? Just so the TV viewing audience has a standard thing of what we're calling stuff from the broadcast point of view. If you guys want to call something the two all the time, right? That doesn't matter to us, but we need to have a name for it as an industry.
Correct.
I was actually positions. Right.
Yeah.
I listened to one of the broadcasts, tried to listen to it from an outside point of view the other day. And it's like, who's going to be the D side number 2, and this whole little dialogue that we have. And if you were just a person on the outside, you'd have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, so we could stabilize that. That way we can have like a dictionary or like a little thing of the words that we use so people can learn it.
And even I was thinking for the visuals as well, like when you're watching the broadcast, having something optically that they can see on the bunker that says like what it is as well could even help. Like, I don't know, if we did come up with a particular rhetoric.
50.
Yeah, just having something that they could say, you can look at it right there. That's what it's called. And
the NPPL, and I think it was the NPPL, they used to have a pretty good, like, they would have the red zone, which is the 50. And I think, there's been a couple other tournament series that uses like a red zone type scoring system. But
yeah, Marcus says we got to call the Doritos the bags. That's the way.
Until Doritos sponsors NXL.
Specifically asked me that from the broadcast side. They said, "Does Doritos sponsor this?" I said no, and they're like, "Do they let you use that name?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess we'll find out."
Oh well, hey, maybe we'll get Doritos involved next. Come on, Doritos.
Yeah,
maybe we will.
It's so funny. We've been the Wild West for a long time, but these are amazing kind of growing pains to have, truly, because we're, like you said, we're in a really good spot right now with the sport. And it's important that we're mindful of all of these things because, I feel like timing is meeting the preparation and the commitment and also the unity of ownership, the leagues, the players. Everyone is really in unison right now, to make this thing capable of reaching the next level. And it's a special time to be in.
I say this all the time, but I think we have the best group of pro players and teams ever, right? In the history of paintball. And I think we have the best relationship between the league and the teams that we've ever had. So, and that goes back mostly to the teams, right? Because they're open and they want to see this take that next step. So,
yeah, it's been a fun journey, and actually, there's a lot of similarities that I drew from the Fight Inc., the show on Roku inside the UFC, and it follows Dana White back in time, before everything started going well for them. There were some tough, tumultuous years in there for them, and you got to go through those hard times, and you got to go through the trials and tribulations to start to open up some big doors. But everyone's working together like never before, and it's definitely trending in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. And Tom, this was another great question from Mark Paris. He says, as a viewer, not having a replay person in Atlantic City was rough. Is there any plan to add some redundancy to that position so we don't miss replays in the future? And to be fair, I feel like that's more of a Go Sports question than a Major League Paintball question. But, is it something you've thought about?
No. Redundancy is expensive. That's the only thing I do know. I don't know why we didn't have a replay person. Was it because we were stacked for the ESPN show? Could be it.
I'm not sure.
I believe I remember hearing that person just was unable to make Atlantic City, and there wasn't a replacement.
That's odd. So yes, we should have redundancy if they're not going to be able to make it. Yeah, I mean, I think the replay is a crucial part of it, right? I think it's one of the things that's helped this relationship, right? Because there's,
True.
When you back all the way up until just recently, you just complained about the call and no one in the pit knew if the player was lying or the ref was lying or where it was coming from. And now there's a lot less complaining because we can go back to the video and just show you that you were wrong or we were wrong. You know what I mean? But it's a lot more black and white. So I think the replay is huge. So Mark, I'm sorry.
No, and we're talking paintball has come so far to be in this moment where we can even discuss having a replay or being able to hold the video in my hand and watch games while I'm having breakfast or, it's we've come a tremendous distance. So we're doing a really good job. And as we move into the future, it's only going to get better. That's what we're doing. We're all working together to make this thing the best it can possibly be. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. And I mean, things are getting easier too, right? The cameras are getting better. I watched the Smart Parts Mohican Sun show right before the ESPN thing, just so we kind of have some ideas of how they did it in the past. And, things are just a lot easier than it was back then when they tried to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And things look better.
Yeah, I mean, things as simple as the drone, like a $500 drone almost looks better than some of the cameras they were using back then.
That would have seemed like witchcraft back then. Right? That would have been, Luckily, they didn't have that, or the gardeners would have definitely been flying it over everyone's game every time.
I remember just being a kid when ESPN first got involved and seeing the huge setups that they had at the event when they were filming. These huge camera setups with cranes and it was insane. And now we have drones flying everywhere.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gotten a lot smaller and a lot easier.
Yep.
For sure.
And it'll continue to. We're gonna, like I was saying, that onboard camera is gonna start to get smaller and have different capabilities that will definitely help our game as we move into the future.
Yeah, we've been doing research into smaller cameras and trying to see what we can do on that category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it looks
again,
good.
It's really all. I mean, my final goal is live, right? That's the holy grail of broadcast. And so we got to keep refining what we're doing. And right now we'll probably stay in the post-production world for the near future. But the final goal is to be able to have something that is live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a fight night, that everyone can tune into. Absolutely.
Yeah. The issue with that is you were saying the GoPros, because there's a little bit of a delay, right? So it'd be tough to.
No, what I'm saying is you have to do a delay if you were doing voiceovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could say, get the F out of here or something, right? We all lose our minds when we're playing. And if that was on live TV, it would be live.
Yeah.
You can't do it live. So what they do then is they give it like a 10-second delay so you can mute anybody that says something crazy.
I thought it was you, or was it Jason that was saying it was the GoPro?
There is a delay. There is a delay also. Well, because we can't get the GoPro. The GoPros are not Bluetooth back to the live show as well. So we have to take those cards out and put them in. I am sure there's a technology thing that we can add to kind of make that go away. But for right now, they don't do that. Or we don't have the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, because that would be obviously that is a step in the right direction, being able to cut in and out of first person view for the live stream. I think that would be a really crucial,
for sure.
Or be able to at least cut back for instant replays again. Like, big move happens in a point, you're in the 2 minutes in between. And,
and everybody probably, I don't know how it looked on Go Sports, but like those 5-minute breaks were brutal, right?
Yeah.
In between times. And that was kind of the compromise that I came up with, because they wanted basically a TV timeout in case we needed to pause for something. And I did not want to be in a situation where I was messing up something like, Red Legion's down by 3 points and they start to make a comeback and they're on a roll. And then I'm like, timeout. So we decided to make basically a 5-minute break each time so that the film crews could get what footage they needed and because they wanted to do sideline interviews and stuff like that in the heat of the moment. So, but that would just turn into, that's when all that other footage would come in, right? The slow motion or the GoPro footage would then get dubbed in after that. So it wouldn't necessarily, in a live format, it wouldn't be seamless, would be the theory.
Got it. Yeah, because I think that would be tremendous. Again, the footage I saw was just really captivating. How about challenges? I know that was a question in here, and I really think it would be yes, from Mark Paris again, but any thoughts on adding an ability to challenge calls? I mean, I understand that puts a stress on getting the day done in time, and you would have, probably some very few situations where you could do that, but it does seem appropriate in some situations.
It does seem appropriate. I'm speaking out of my lane here. This is more of a Jason question, but I do believe we need to go to a challenge. So the problem is it's somewhat arbitrary when we decide to review something, right? So, Jason's reviewing when he thinks there's a bad call, or if everybody starts complaining, a big uproar, he goes and looks at the video footage, right? But it would actually probably save time if we only did challenges. And I don't know what the system would be. And I always called it the Mikey Bruno rule, that we didn't allow the challenges because he would be throwing a flag every 3 minutes. But if we gave everybody one challenge a match, I think it would speed things along and give a little more transparency to the game. And then also not have Jason on the spot every time he's got to check something.
Yeah, that's true.
Put that back on you guys. Be sure you want to use it. And then it would also start giving the fans online to see how many times you guys are wrong.
And then there also, I think, needs to be like in other sports, if the challenge is correct, you keep your challenge, or you lose your timeout if you're wrong, something like that, to where there's some repercussions as well.
We'd have to come up with a system. We're going to have some, when he said challenges, I thought he meant like complications when you first started that question. But, when you start looking at the game to be broadcast, we may have to make some tweaks in line with trying to make that a little more broadcast friendly, whether we have to lengthen the game a little bit each match to make it so that it fits in a TV time slot. And these are the things that the original very early NXL went through when they were trying to make something for broadcast. But yeah, those are some of the things we're going to start trying to tweak a little bit now that we have some parameters and know how the time thing goes. So. Mm-hmm.
What kind of formats are you playing around with?
So you can talk crap on them while I'm live. So the first easiest change that we looked at this time. So the biggest thing we were worried about during this match, and I was definitely afraid of it, is a 1-1 game or a 1-0 game, right?
Yeah.
And literally, I think it was last year at World Cup when I was sitting with someone from the outside world, and they were like, there was a 1-1 game, and he was like, if that was your one chance on TV, that would have been your last chance. And I was like, oh my God, that's a valid point. So one of the things we thought about to make it more in line with traditional sports would be to go to 4 quarters. And this is just a rough idea. Don't start quoting me on this. But if you said it was 4 quarters and every one of them was 5 minutes, just for argument's sake, right? So that no one point could go over 5 minutes. You could play as many points as you wanted in the 5 minutes, but whenever it hit that 5-minute mark, that's when we would take a break, and that's when we would switch sides. So to be just like football at that point. So you would start from home, and you'd play as many points as you could from home in the 5 minutes. We would take a 5-minute break, which would give the TV guys their chance to run commercials and do some of the extra reporting stuff that we want to do. And then you would switch sides, just like the way the NFL does it. You do it 4 times. So now I'm guaranteed at least 4 breakouts. From a spectator point of view, right? I get to watch 4 breakouts at least, at the minimum. And it kind of changed the dynamic a little bit. And I don't think it's draconian as something else. And then and maybe your shot clock thing is a thing too. I do like that idea, but it just puts more pressure on the referees and all that stuff to get that right. We don't want the Bart up there saying it was 101 when you guys did it. We managed to do it in 59 seconds every time.
There shouldn't be much issue with that, though. I mean, it's Jason has pretty good review at the end of games when someone hits the buzzer. You have like an exact clock.
Yeah.
Maybe do both. I'm not gonna lie. I like the quarter idea a lot more than I originally did after we played it up in Sacramento against Impact.
Yeah.
Again, my concern is, and always has been, that you still have the potential for a 0-0 game, because a point could, the first quarter, no one could win, and then you go into the second quarter.
You could, but at least you're getting 4 different looks, right? You're getting some. I mean, you're not watching 9 minutes of one guy shooting at one guy. People are still going to get eliminated, right? And that's part of the problem is, if you look at the NFL or a lot of other sports, they're being forced to make changes to keep the game progressing. I mean, baseball just did a whole bunch of stuff to try and make their game progressing.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're finally bringing in robot umpires.
Are they really?
It's
like
just
football, they're protecting the quarterback. They're doing all sorts of stuff to make it high-scoring games. And we need to do a similar boat. And a shout out to both the Red Legion and Aftershock. I asked them, do not play a 1-1 game.
Those are like the perfect two teams. They're like the perfect two teams almost.
Yep, and they played an amazing game. And Malloy, who doesn't say a lot in my experience, we're up on this award stage. He looked at me and says, it was not 1-1. No, it was not 1-1. It was not. Thank you.
Yeah, they're pressing the field. Red Legion's pressing. Aftershock was pressing out there.
Yeah, no, it was impressive, and I appreciate both teams for really going out there and mix it up.
The layout was phenomenal as well. Trosen hit it out of the park with that layout. I think that was great.
We were all under a lot of pressure there, Jason, too. You know what I mean? There was a little panicking right there at the end that we were going to end up with a slow scoring game. So it worked out. I mean, so all parties kind of contributed, right? So, and that's what I'm saying. We don't have an adversarial relationship with the teams, really. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of trying to do what's the best, even though in the short term, it would have been better, if, a team to get up 2-0 and just sit. But that's not what they ended up doing. So,
it was exciting.
I will say
the game itself has evolved, though, too. You can't just get up 2-0 and sit. It doesn't work anymore. So, I think the game has evolved alone. Now,
Damage has won plenty of tournaments in the past 2 years to say that the 2-0
they've won 2 tournaments,
which is a lot.
They've won
for
2.
Everybody except for a dynasty.
Yeah, but to say it's because they play slow, I actually don't believe they play slow. They play pretty aggressive when they need to. They have weapons, and like Chad Berger is one of the most aggressive.
Joey's a smart guy. He plays aggressive when they have to. But once they only play up, they make you grind it.
No, I disagree. So they get up points. They don't go conservative. They do a really good job of when they're up points, and then within a point they get up bodies. That's when they play slow. They still play aggressive to earn that advantage, and it's a key difference actually. And it's what a lot of teams actually fumble is they get up points and they think, okay, let's go to conservative spots and play slow. That doesn't work, and Damage does not do that. And they're not just like really good at doing that. They're really good at when they get an advantage, and I don't mean just a point advantage. When they get an advantage like within a point, then they suffocate you. That's what they're good at. And there's a fundamental difference. Now, they have had some none of their finals matches have been slow. I mean, our finals with them was, like a 7-8 point final in, where was that? Orlando last year, I believe their finals matches have been high scoring. Really, you're only seeing those 1-1.
If you look at their average score, they're probably the lowest
in the prelims. Yeah, we talked about this at the last event too. I believe it's part strategy and I could be wrong about this, is my assumption, but especially at the last event, teams that were doing the Thursday as well were kind of like in the prelims of the next day. We're like, okay, if we could get out of here with less points, let's do that because we need to conserve as much energy as possible.
Yeah, I'm talking historically. I mean, I think if you
historically,
if you look at Joey's scores, I mean, even Joey, when I was asking everybody to not play like Damage, in my opinion, plays, he literally was like, absolutely not. I'm going to play as slow as I can.
Well, that's a Joey response. Huh? That's a Joey response.
Get him, Joey.
Yeah, come on now. When did you say the last 1-1 final was, Tom?
I have no idea. I don't know if I've ever
don't think
seen
it's
a
happened.
1-1 final, but it was a 1-1 match.
Yeah, those are the end of prelims when 2 teams are 3-0. They don't really care, and it's like you can get away with that.
Thing.
Yeah, 100%. So like I don't know. I feel like in part of this is because of Jason and the field layouts and the actual bunkers themselves. I think in the last couple of years it's been pretty exciting, and Sundays have all been, for the most part, pretty exciting. You have a few slower games, but
I would say when it comes to the finals, things slow up. There's definitely less points scored in the finals than there is in the prelims. Except for maybe that last match, but on average, less points are scored on Sunday than are on the same amount of games on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying, though. I'm just saying that it's not as slow as a 1-2,
And there's always the argument, right? There's so many intricate strategies, right, about playing that point system and all that stuff. And I agree with that. And that is some of the coolness of the game. But people say the same thing about that, rushing every time for 3 yards, that smash mouth football, right? Which is okay, I guess, if you're super into watching a 3-hour game of people move 3 yards at a time. But what's made the NFL go big is, people getting passing. People want to watch passes and people want to watch touchdowns.
Yeah, for sure.
So, so I can watch a 10-on-10 ICPL hyperball game and watch people intricately play that for hours, right? And know that everybody's doing something, but that doesn't necessarily make it the next level of television, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Hey, the people want to know, Tom, when are you going to have that MLPB merch on the website? They want to rock that.
I actually have meetings over the next couple weeks to try and make that happen. So tell them thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, there we go. So be on the lookout. Major League Paintball merch will be dropping soon. Support the league, support paintball.
Yeah, that the logo is really cool when you travel, right? People definitely notice that logo. So
you guys obliterated it with that logo. That alone, that upgrade has been huge. Just the way it looks so good, professional. Looks great.
And that was also just this year, right? I guess it was kind of the tail end of last year, but really just come out this year on the bunkers and stuff. So.
Yep, a lot of big developments. It's awesome.
Yeah, no. It's been
crushing it.
It was a lot of work in advance, and now it's all just kind of coming together at the same time. So
that's right. Yeah, you don't see all the months and months and years of legwork and phone calls and everything that goes into what's happening now.
Yeah,
looking good
for sure.
All right. Well, I have some members in the PTG chat. Jimmy Hickey, who is one of the team owners, he was wondering about different ways we can get paintball on TV or more notoriety without having just, paintball play action. So he's going to be happy to hear about, the possibility that we're working with some people to try to do like a lifestyle piece on paintball. So he's going to be stoked about that. But he was sounding off in there, and we got some people showing appreciation for you taking time to have lunch with them. That wasn't a question, but forget where that one is. You had lunch with someone just like on a whim, and they're super grateful for you just taking the time to chat with them at a paintball tournament.
Oh, okay. Yep.
You find that one, Mark?
Tom. No, I'm in the chat over here, but we'll go to this really quick with Mark Paris.
I found it. Jay Lamb. Jay Lamb says thank you for that.
Yep. No, that was cool. I remember that.
Yeah.
Nice. Mark Paris says to play devil's advocate, and this is a great point. A lot of people hated watching the jiu-jitsu aspect of MMA when UFC was coming up, but now you don't see much. I would say you don't really see any pushback on it. There's got to be a respect for the slow game, and I totally agree. And actually, this brings me back to my fundamental core argument against the 1-1 game and all that. That's not exciting. It's about the lifestyle stories. That's what makes people care and get interested in the first place.
Well, everybody's got a right to their opinion.
Both is even better.
There's so much data to support this, though, Tom.
We'll give you the example, and so he's correct, right? So MMA got huge problems in the beginning, right? And now that they have a huge customer base, the slow game can come back in and creep in. We have to educate the consumer at the beginning, right? It's just like when you first describe paintball to somebody, right? You're like, what is the objective, right? So basically you start on one side, you play on the other side, and it's just to shoot each other and basically get to the other side and get a flag, right? And we keep adding layers and layers and layers to it to make it more and more complicated, make it more and more competitive and fix holes that we see as people have been playing for 20, 30 years, right? We have a huge paintball IQ now. It's the best it's ever been. Like I talk to every pro player has infinite knowledge about what they've been doing because they've been playing forever. We need to dumb it down a little bit in the beginning or speed it up, which I'm saying make the game more exciting to watch. And once we get those people hooked, then we can start going backwards and start bringing the slow game in again. Because the MMA was struggling when they first had people that would just crawl on someone and lay on them for a while.
Well, when they first started, you could argue that it was the most like in your face wow factor a sport can get.
So in the middle, let's go through the middle, the bankruptcies.
Let's go through the bankruptcies. The thing that always brings me back to my point, Tom, is this, and it's with any person that I've ever watched sports with. Maybe you're different. You let me know. I watch football and love watching football. I love it. I love when I have a rare Sunday off, or if I get back from practice in time and a team that I like is playing. There are Sunday nights and Monday nights where I don't watch football if I don't have a player from fantasy football playing, or if it's not one of the teams that I like. Why is that? The game is no different. It has nothing to do with how the game is being played, the rules, or anything. The rules are the same. The game is the same. I just have zero interest in the athletes playing or the organizations. My girlfriend's like that. A lot of my friends are like that. I don't know.
You're correct in the storyline thing. There's no doubt that we need to show the good and bad, right? You need to show Tyler being the happy guy that I'm going to like, you know what I mean? As a person, I'm going to root for Tyler. And then there's going to be someone that we don't like. We'll call that, I don't know. I'm not even going to name a name.
Am I him?
No, why would I not like you?
Okay, perfect. Good. We're making
there's
sure.
No one really that I don't like on the pro side right now. But let's just say there's a guy that's a little more gruff, right? The anti-hero guy, right? That people are going to root against, right? Huh?
I know who you're talking about.
Well, it could be Dynasty, right? So Dynasty won a bunch of tournaments in a row, right? I'm starting to root against Dynasty, right? You don't want to see the same teams win, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever the reason is, you got to have an emotional commitment to the teams in order to enjoy it. That is a fact. But the same thing happens, though, and this is why football has made it high scoring, because you're not fighting over the advocate, right? You're not fighting over the paintball fan. We're fighting over the fan that turns it on for a couple seconds and has to be caught at that second and have it be exciting and easy to understand. If it's confusing, you just turn it off and you move on to the next thing. So we need to try and capture that guy.
Football is so confusing.
Football is super complicated.
And when Europeans watch the
Super Bowl and it's a low-scoring game, they think it's the dumbest thing ever. So that's why the NFL is constantly trying to make their game more shoot and score.
That's part of that is true too. Actually seeing the other side of it, because two teams that I actually do follow a lot of the players and I'm incredibly excited about, and this is to basketball, is the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics. I'm a fan of players on both those teams. I thought it was going to be an epic final. I turned off half of them. Each game was a blowout. There wasn't good competition. There was no good storyline to follow. Within the games, the players that I liked weren't having good turnouts. It was, I think, one of the biggest busts in NBA Finals history as far as percentage of viewers compared to the rest of the season. It was a total flop, and it was two teams that I follow. So it kind of does also lean into the game still has to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, and it goes both ways, right? And so, I met with Nikon at one of the shows that I was at, and we were talking about the challenges of filming paintball and all that kind of stuff. And it was actually a really good meeting, and I appreciate them taking the time to kind of talk it over with me. But they said that online gaming tournaments had a very similar problem, especially like the Fortnite games and stuff like that, because there was so much stuff going on, and it was so confusing that people were just not engaged, right? So your hardcore gamers were always going to be engaged, but the fringe people that we're trying to capture weren't engaged. So they didn't necessarily say they dumbed it down, but they spent a lot of time and money to educate the consumer, right? So it was like everything was like almost being dumbed down from the education thing. And that's one of the points I make in the broadcast is you need to have a layman. You always have to have a layman in the story so he can ask the hard questions, because you don't want it to be, you don't want it to be just two people that don't know anything about paintball, but at the same point in time, you don't want it to be two people that have intimate knowledge into paintball, so they're not talking to the general consumer. And I'll get a little too deep in this, but there's a book, Master and Commander. Everybody's seen the movie Master and Commander, right? Mm-hmm. But it's an entire book series that kind of mastered this teaching you sailor talk. There's a reason why the scientist is in that movie. The one that doesn't know anything about ships. It's so he can ask the questions and the captain can tell him what that means. So, because you need to have, it's supposed to be a legitimate movie about sailing in the Napoleonic era, but no one knows anything about sailing terms. So they want to get the hardcore person by being real to the story, but they add that guy that knows nothing about sailing and warfare at the time, so he can ask dumb questions like, what is starboard? Why are we doing that? What are we doing that? Because by the end of the series, everybody kind of understands that stuff. But in the beginning, they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, interesting.
So you need to add that person to ask those questions to build that story. And I went a little too deep there, but yes.
It's perfect. All these other sports have been around for so long. We're paving the way. We're creating what the reality is going to be for the viewer, and that's something that, like I said, paintball is young, and we're creating it all as we go.
Right. Yes. We are very young in the world.
Yeah.
But it's interesting and it's exciting. That's why, I like watching all those other shows about other sports and their trials and how they're doing stuff to change stuff. And like I said, Major League Baseball just made a bunch of changes to try and speed their games up to stop that stuff from happening and to increase people stealing. So baseball is probably one of the most tradition-ridden sports in the planet, right? Like everything is about how you did that and what you said to that guy and how you handled that play. And it's all about stats and how they do all that stuff. And they've now broken those rules to try and get people to steal more. They made the base bigger so you can steal more. Why do people want stealing?
It's exciting.
It is exciting to watch. That's why the 2-point thing would be exciting if you see teams really going for it.
With you. You've started to win me over on the 2-point thing.
I say you do both. 4 quarters and 2 points. Let's party.
Yeah. Could get exciting out there. And that's what we want to do. We want to make it, obviously stay true to the game, stay true to the sport, but also add components to this amazing game that make it exciting and captivating when people watch it.
Yep. And you don't want to make it too gimmicky, but you want to make it fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love it, Tom.
I think the 2-point thing, the only issue you would run into is in the last minute of the game or, even early in the game, conceding. If you concede a point, you would have to also be giving up 2 points if you did it, under a minute. That would become really interesting in the last minute of a game. I wonder if you make it to where if you concede in the last minute of the game, it's only 1 point, but then you would run into where if a team is going to lose, they're going to, concede anyway. So
it would take away the ability to catch up. One of the things I like about your system is it enables you to come back faster, right? So
correct.
One of the neat things about football is you're never really out of it, right? Because you can score 7 and then you can score 3 and then you can score 2 of the extra points, right? So you can actually score 8 on a touchdown, right? So it makes it easier to come back and be in a attack mode and you're not completely out of it at any point in time. So that is the one neat thing. And yes, they would just always concede it in that last minute so you couldn't win.
Right.
I do have a couple things that I'd like to get people's feedback on. So one, we went to the numbers, right, at this last event, which I think was clutch. I like the numbers. I think it's a pretty neat system. The one drawback we had from telling the two teams apart is the goggles. So the one of the producers made an idea of saying we really need team goggles would be the next step for identifying the players. Because basically a lot of times you just see the player's head.
Yeah.
And the jerseys are convoluted as it is. So, you would have a Dynasty blue and a Houston Heat red goggle. And we would come up with make that a little more traditional. Because right now, when you look at it, you guys are wearing so much, you have a Hormesis headband and some type of rag on top of that. And you got so much stuff, right, that everybody kind of looks the same.
I'm not sure what players you're watching, Tom, but I don't know of any players that have a rag on their head.
Well, you know what I mean.
The sandanas are flying.
Yeah, man. I understand it. I just personally hate it. I love the individuality in being able to, kind of customize your stuff. And there's other sports that are like that, but they're not team sports. So I understand it. I just don't love it. But I do think it's probably
because I had never thought of that, right? To that the mask was such a big deal, and maybe it's not all the head wrap. Maybe it's just the goggle, right?
Right. Yeah. Just the goggle.
The goggle and the headband or something, right? The goggle strap.
Yeah.
Because do you think the Dallas Cowboys guys, like T.O. would want to wear something completely different than everybody so they would know who he was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that if that's what, if we need to have a little bit of different colored helmet that helps people distinguish, then whatever helps the game. It's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Should we make everyone's guns the same color too? Or they have to stick within their team colors?
No,
kind of makes sense.
That's not a bad idea, but
kind of makes sense.
I think from a viewership thing, I think the goggles probably the biggest thing, but also, I mean, the whole head wear thing, right? It's pretty big.
Well, I'll tell you what, HK Army's got these new customizable things dropping soon. You're going to see. So we're excited to
things as in masks, or
I think so. I think there might be something. I'm not saying there's a mask, but there might be a mask. There might be something going on. So we would we'd be happy to get customizable and make that a reality.
Yeah, well, it'd be kind of neat, right? Especially on the pro division, to say that you have to all have the same colored mask and and a home and away mask or whatever that we end up doing. So,
I mean, Scotty from Will Ball for Soup says that HK is making some JT earpieces.
Something's going on. I don't know what's
happening. Cooking up over there, Tom?
I don't know. There's something going on, but more news will be dropping on that pretty soon. Marky actually just made a post on his story, kind of hyping it up, but we'll have some more news on that soon.
Nice, exciting.
It is exciting.
So, okay, Tom, that was the first. What else you got?
That's it.
That was it. Just the goggles. Just the goggles.
Just the goggles.
Easy.
Well, that the jerseys, right? I think it was pretty universal that they felt like the jerseys are busy.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That we need to find a way to. Plus, when you turn something on, you really want to know who to root for, right? If you're a fan of somebody for a long time.
Yeah.
So
the numbers were great. Seeing the numbers on the loaders, that was really cool to see come back too.
Yeah, no, I was excited about it. I was definitely excited. I thought it looked good, and it's definitely going to help them name everybody and kind of know what's going on. So yeah.
And for the statisticians, as that continues to grow as well, being able to see the numbers on the loaders, who's going out there.
We'll give you something. So we plan on next year, and we hope to debut it at World Cup at least, having some type of a fantasy situation.
Interesting.
So I'll give everybody my idea so everybody can shoot it down a little bit. So I think the way you do it is you pick your team based upon, you have to have one player from each of the tiers, right? So we have 5 tiers of 4 teams, right? So you have to pick one from each tier, so that actually we actually have 4 tiers of 5, but you would always have to. So let's just use this last event. I don't know who was in the bottom, but let's just assume it's New York Extreme. So you had to have. That's not a shot. I just remember that he's in there. You have to have a player from New York Extreme, and you'd have to have someone from the Red Legion, right? Because it's someone from the top side. So that way, the players would get dispersed, and we're not just picking up 5 Houston Heat guys because they've been in the Sunday every Sunday. And kind of split it up a little bit and make it so people are playing different players. So then if you made a bet, so let's just use Dynasty. I don't know what you guys were ranked coming in at this last event, but you would have been a mid-tier team, right? So that would be like a score to put a Marcelo in there on that time because you got a low tier. Or if you bet that, that New York Extreme next event was going to do great, right? You pick Pat and you're like, Pat's my guy, and I think they're going to make it to the finals. It would kind of just turn it around, so everybody's just not picking the 5 all-stars every time.
Mm-hmm. And so how would you win? What's the scoring system?
So we would basically use your points, like how many points you won. So the more points you play, the better off you'd be. So a Red Legion guy played a lot of points, and so they won a lot of points. So if you said it was +10 for every time you won a point, -2 for every time you lost a point, and then you had to pick 5 players, and you had to pick 1 from each tier, and then 1 at-large player, right? So I think that would be a neat little format.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And it would split it up, like I said. It would bring some notoriety to those I shouldn't say low-end players, but players that aren't exactly household names. People would be researching them more to try and find the best of that bottom tier.
Without a doubt, yeah. It gets people involved. That's what we need, is just more involvement with the players. Like you said, building personalities. They're going to do some more research on those players, and it grows everything. Yeah.
Agreed. And Tom, I mean, you guys already basically have a ranking system for the players. You guys are doing stats.
We do.
So you could do fantasy right now. There's a way to do fantasy off of that.
Correct. And that was the first step, right? And
right.
so we plan on there's only so many hours in the day for all of these crazy projects, right? So that's a goal for next year to get started. We're going to do a pilot at World Cup, I believe, but we'll go from there.
Cool. And how about the paintball stats guys? Do you guys, because it's a little confusing that there's two separate entities doing paintball stats and they actually don't match up, which is even more confusing. What's the situation there? Is there intention to maybe, work together and collaborate and have one unified stat system?
Yes. I mean, we have nothing against those guys. And I think some of the stuff they do is really badass, to be honest with you. It's just, how to explain this, that it's what they're doing is expensive, right? And it's something that they're looking at as their own business model. And so we are obviously trying to go with a more sustainable, from our point of view, not his point of view, model for us, right? So we are trying to keep it in-house and doing our own stats. Plus, I mean, if we decide to do, the gambling or whatever, which we are working on, or fantasy football, we want to be the person that touches that in its entirety, right? So that we're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the guy does it. The guy who does it, right? He's the coach for Houston Heat.
Yeah, Pat and Sam as well is involved.
So,
with,
you're already running into it, and not that they're doing anything sketchy or anything, but I mean, it's just from a transparency point of view, that's a little frightening.
It could be, certainly. All right. Yeah. Fantasy paintball. Tyler and myself own the Play Fantasy Paintball platform, right?
I did not. I kind of knew a little bit about it.
I knew.
Not really know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. We love fantasy paintball.
What do you
love fantasy paintball?
What are you doing with it? Why don't you get with the stats guys and run some fantasy paintball?
Well, there's finally stats guys involved, Yeah. So now we need to team up with some stats guys.
All right.
That's what we've been waiting for.
So, what you've been waiting on.
That's what we've been waiting on. We can't do the stats while we're playing. Damn, would you look at that? Tyler Harmon had 57 kills in that match again.
Yeah, the dream team. The dream team. It's always weird when everybody's we're such a small community that everything's always a little that way, right?
It is for sure. I just like to see us work together when we can, but I totally understand. And they do offer some extra stuff that's really good for scouting and for
the stats stuff. I mean, that stuff that they do and the graphics that they do are amazing, right?
Totally.
I think
it's next level. The stuff that they have is crazy.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, and we crashed the Major League Paintball.com website. There must be thousands of fields right now. Going to the site trying to sign up.
Say it's crashed. It's MajorLeaguePB.com, not Major League Paintball. Major League PB.
Okay. MajorLeaguePB.com.
So we actually
how do you not have something redirect? How does it not redirect to that?
So we just haven't. We're doing it this week.
Tom, Tyler and I are basically apes from early century times when it comes to technology. And ours, we have PTG podcast.com and PTG paintball.com. You go either one.
When you do Major League Paintball, it's a little more expensive. There was definitely someone holding that.
I'm sure if they type it in. Oh, I see.
Damn. What do they call those? Domain campers? No. What do they call those? What do they call that? It's like it's a
enemy.
thing. It's not for sure, but it's
the enemy.
Oh, what's it called? I bet Verb or someone in here will know.
No, you're right. Where they farm all these great names and just hold them. Hold them ransom.
Good
I would like to think this was not a paintball guy, but I am pretty sure it was a paintball guy.
Oh man,
for sure a paintball guy.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So
but
it all ends well. So we have both now. We just have to transfer them over.
Okay,
make it so they both go. But, yeah,
cyber
technically, the shorter the domain name is, the better. So we would stick with the one, but we definitely want them both to redirect. So
right, yeah, nice. Well, yeah, Tom, I'm looking at the website now that I have the right domain, and it just looks amazing. So the team is doing a really good job. Really impressed with basically all of the fronts that we have. So if people come and see paintball for the first time, it seems like everything's in sync. You can find everything through the Major League PB website. it's not as much of a mystery as it used to be. Before, I felt like you had to like dig through archives to find anything relative to professional paintball.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like a speakeasy. That's my analogy. Like a cool speakeasy that you need to know the handshake to get into. That is one of my main goals is for every level of this to make this easier to do, right? Whether it's a D5 guy knowing what he's got to do to see what the schedule is going to be, or whatever the different challenges we are, you shouldn't have to need to know who did it in the past and be around for 20 years to figure something out. So everything we do is trying to make it one step easier. So it's a lot. It's a work in progress.
Well, you're crushing it, Tom. Keep up the good work, dude. And my last question from the Discord, and we were able to get through quite a bit of the questions in here and kind of went over it, but comes from Osborne for this. Tom, what are some of the big takeaways or things learned that you can share from the ESPN recording?
The goggles.
Okay.
Really, we learned that how hard it is to film paintball from a color aspect, right? Because a lot of the stuff we wear is very drab. It's not very contrasty. And also that we got to make sure that we have incentivized for people to play aggressive, right? So that we're not living in this world of whatever. That was my biggest takeaway. And I don't want Marcelo to get all upset there thinking we're changing his formats here. But
no. Again, Tom, I honestly like the 4 quarters idea. The more that we've talked about it, and then after playing it, I expressed to you that it's not nearly as bad as I thought. I think it could serve a cool purpose, because when you really think about it as well, I know
the blessing I get for my ideas is not as bad as I thought.
I like it. I'm on board.
Thank you.
Well, again, my biggest takeaway, my biggest point was your intention for wanting to change the format is to avoid the potential of having a 1-1 game, even though that happens not so frequently on Sunday, right? So you want to avoid something that might happen. I was just kind of playing the other side of the coin, that it seems like in that format, there's also the potential to have multiple quarters expire and nobody score, and you still have a low scoring game, or you have a situation where there's a really exciting 3-on-3 developing and then time expires. So the viewer's going, what the hell? Why is that over? This great move was about to happen. It didn't happen. I didn't get to see it. And it's still 0-0. That's kind of lame. But I do believe that the reality of it when it's actually played might be different. And it might be to where you're in the first quarter and it's a 3-on-3. When it gets down to like 30 seconds, one of the teams is probably going to try to win the point, and you might see some really exciting stuff. I doubt that they're just going to like let the time expire as if they were unaware of the clock.
Well, and that's the challenge of, when you guys do this stuff at practice, right? Or if you do it at anything that's not an event, it doesn't matter as much. So people inherently just play more aggressively, right? And so when you see people knuckle down, and that's when we initially first started talking to ESPN, I was like, I'll make a custom show for you tomorrow. Like, you tell me what we got to do. And they're like, no, it's got to be a real event, because there won't be emotion. It won't be the same. And the audience will be able to tell that, right? There is a difference between winning the World Cup and winning, a practice match.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's an important part of it. So we just have to keep digging away and try and find it. Because like you said, we won't know the real consequences of any change for even a couple of years after playing it, because as it gets more sophisticated, you guys will figure out, how best to play that. So it's funny. I was at the Axe Throwing Championship, right? That's the story behind the ESPN thing. And when I was there, they had made a new rule where they have a challenge target down at the bottom left-hand corner, which is worth, and I don't remember exactly, let's say it's worth 3 points, right? So when you hit the bullseye, whoever's closest to the bullseye, they get 1 point. And if you go for the challenge point, you get 3 points if you hit that. And they would announce that occasionally, right? They would just say, we're going for the 3 points. And that's what it was. It was enable the game to become more dynamic, because they started hitting the bullseye every time.
Tom, oh, wow. What if you had a button at the start gate that you could press that signaled, okay, we're going for a 2-pointer. And it meant that you had to score in under 30 seconds. And if you don't you lose the point. But if you score in under 30 seconds, you get 2. But it's not for the whole game, and maybe you can only do it once or twice.
Interesting. I also thought about saying you do the challenge thing and you play with 4. And if you play with 4, you get more points. Because I've seen entirely too many points where the 4 wins.
Yeah, it happens.
Which is insane to me, right? But just imagine if that was worth 3, right? Let's just use that as an example, right? So you're down 4-1 and you come out and you say, hey, we're going to play with 4.
I just don't think that's as exciting though, because now you're breaking out the 4 bodies. Maybe it's a slow point, but if you come out and like the other team doesn't know you're going to go for the 2-pointer, so you could reserve that for whenever you want, but you hit something at like, you have to hit it, within 20 seconds or something. And now the other team's like, fuck, they're going for a 30-second point, And so now, do they have to change their game plan? How are they going to react to that kind of attack? And the viewers, a little light comes up on the display, the broadcast, and it's like, oh, they're going for a 2-pointer. This is going to be fast. It's going to be action-packed point. I mean, this is a brilliant. This is a brilliant idea. Yeah,
it would have to be -2 if you didn't get it, right?
Yeah, for sure, of course. Yeah, well, it's a high risk. You maybe only see it once or twice a match, but but it could be an exciting.
It's like the 2-point conversion, right? It's right. A low whatever.
Yeah,
low percentage.
You're going for it.
Low percentage of getting it, but when you do get it, right?
Yeah,
it's always an option, and it means when you're up by 1, you're not safe.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
right.
And if you're down by 5, it's not over.
Correct.
I just like the suspense of that's not always in the rules. So like you would have this suspense of teams walking out. You're as a viewer, you're like, because this is pulling on.
Are they going to do it?
Strings.
Yeah.
And so
it's a little like they're
walking out,
too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like all of a sudden you see the formation shift and you go, oh, they're going for the onside kick right after halftime. This is nuts. Oh, the Saints win the Super Bowl. No, but like you would see
you can only do it once per match or something like that. So maybe you elect to do it on the first point or something so that they're not prepared to do it. It's a neat idea.
Yeah, maybe.
Neat idea.
Yeah, the viewers would be watching, and then all of a sudden, boom, the little red light comes up, and you're like, oh, they're going for a fast play. Like, yes.
Yeah,
and
that's pretty cool.
That's fucking genius.
Like
we need to have more talks like this.
Right? For the hurry-up offense.
The hurry-up offense. Yeah, like it would immediately notify all the viewers, and everyone would be like locked in. Like, oh, they're going for it. Oh.
We'd also create why didn't they do the 2 points? What they're stupid.
Yeah.
For the 2 points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Monday morning quarterbacks.
Make SK's head explode.
This is genius. I mean, this is so genius. This might be the best idea. I thought the 2-point thing itself was like the best. This might be the best one I've had.
Put the cherry on it. But
I'm gonna some advice. I think all of my ideas are great in the beginning until a bunch of people start poking holes in it. So
that's how it goes.
Give it some time to marinate before you're.
If this was a raw idea, yeah, I understand. But I put a lot of thought into the 2-point itself, so this is just like a variation of it.
All right.
Seems pretty foolproof. But you are right, Tom. The more time you sit with something, like that could be a mistake. That could be. I get it. All right, maybe my idea sucks. I still think it's great.
Yeah, is going crazy right now. He's about to run through the middle, get 2 points, start stacking up points. Let's go. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite videos is Houston Heat beating Impact with like 30 seconds left.
Oh, that was crazy.
What about Red Legion beating Impact with
that one was insane,
17 seconds left? Is that what you were talking about?
No, I was talking about an old one. The one where it's in slow motion to like I think Beethoven or something. It's pretty impressive. The video. Virtue has a video. It's the best video ever.
Nice.
He literally shoots high on the Doritos so that the Impact guy pulls his gun up, thinks he's shooting there, and then he comes out low and one-shots him and then runs through. It's epic. Have you not seen the video?
Send it.
I'm sure I have.
It might be the best paintball video I've ever seen.
All right, Tom, you got to send that to Marcelo. He's got to
never be able to find it, but yeah.
I'll find it.
So someone just asked the question there and I missed it.
Oh, man. Well, Tommy, we appreciate you, man. Everybody appreciates you for taking the time to just, connect with us and hang out with us. You've been absolutely crushing it and are the best president in paintball, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely, Tom.
Chuck
I second that.
Have something to say about that?
Well, unfortunately, facts are facts, and our opinion is basically as good as gold. So you are the best paintball president in the world right now.
I appreciate
that. Without a doubt, man.
I might be the only one, but yeah.
No, Tom, seriously, you're the man. We appreciate you coming on the show. I know all the listeners do too. They always love your episodes.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Much love. See you, Tom. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link in the corner, and support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We have tiers as low as $1.99 a month. That is nothing, guys, and it'll give you access to the Discord, where you get access to the players chat and get to mingle with the entire PTG community. We have tons of different pros in there. Tyler and myself are very active, and it's an amazing way to support the show. We also have amazing other tiers. If you want to be one of the best, want to be a GOAT, sign up for the GOAT tier. It's the greatest way to support us, and each month we do a private live stream show, one-on-one kind of thing, to where it's just the GOATs, and Tyler and myself will bring in some special guests every now and then, but you get to ask us questions in real time, live on the air, and you get lots of inside juicy news that we don't share on the show. So, as always, we will see you guys very soon.